How good is Monster Hunter World in 2024? I got you. Monster Hunter World released 6 years ago, and most of the time video games don't live that long. They either get surpassed by newer and better games, or the community has kind of done everything there is to do in the game, and they move on to other titles and genres. But every now and then, there's a game that outlasts the years. It becomes a classic, a must-play. And good news for you, you're living in the moment where Monster Hunter World is going from fantastic to a must-play. 6 years after its release, this game has had a huge resurgence of players returning to World. For a game this old, it's quite impressive to see the community thriving and enjoying more playthroughs and discovering new things. Is this what makes Monster Hunter World good though? Nah, it's just an indicator. But a mass of people don't normally come back to bad games in droves. So how good is Monster Hunter World in 2024? Well, let me tell you. Think back for a second to the game that sucked you in. The game that you fired up, you sat back and started playing, and before you knew it, hours had passed. You forgot to eat. The sun had gone down, or had come up, since you started playing without you realizing it. For me, this is Monster Hunter World, but every time I pick it up. There's a reason why I started a YouTube channel about it. It's the only game that I do here. I've got over 600 hours in Monster Hunter World, and I still haven't done everything in it. And the hours just fly by every time I play, and they're full of tons of fun and epic moments and lots of accomplishments that I've checked off my list. And my number of hours that I've played this game is chump change compared to those that I've talked to and seen. In game, you feel so much. The immersion is some of the best in gaming. You feel like an explorer. You feel like a hunter. You feel like you're the most epic fighter of dragons and dinosaurs the world has ever seen. You feel the weight of your oversized weapons and the big hits from the creatures that you're hunting. The world you're exploring feels like a real world. It's a thriving ecosystem with big monsters and small creatures, habitats for them to live in, and a bunch of secrets hidden along the way. You aren't walking into a big flat stage to fight a monster. You're in the wild. There's so much to do and see in the game, and there's even more if you keep your eyes open for it. The immersion of Monster Hunter World alone would make it an amazing game, but there's so much more to this game than just the feels. I've played a ton of video games over the years, and I've always been a huge fan of looter-style games. Building my collection of rare and unique guns in Borderlands, throwing every single block possible in chests in Minecraft, and creating unique decks with crazy win conditions in the Pokemon trading card game way back in the day. I just like having all the stuff and doing hilarious things with that stuff. Additionally, I didn't think Monster Hunter was in this category of game, and it was probably the reason why I didn't stumble upon it until after World released. I thought it was just a game where you hunted monsters. It's in the title. But I was very, very wrong. Yes, you hunt monsters, which is epic and fun, but you're also building this huge collection of parts that you harvest from the monsters you defeat, and you use those parts to make armor sets or different types of weapons, and also just some fun builds that you can do along the way. Now that I've gone through the game a handful of times, I've learned what armor skills I enjoy to use, but I also like to experiment with the skills I've never given a chance. This is a deep game if you want it to be. There's a ton of individual skills in the game, and the combinations that you do to put them all together is almost infinite. Not to mention the 14 unique weapons in the game with different playstyles between all of them. And you get to top it all off with the true endgame of any good game, Fashion Hunter, making your character just look dope. The best part of any game I've ever played is the boss battles. The whole story culminates around a fight that's going to put your skills to the test and likely have you starting and restarting that fight multiple times to finally beat it. And when you beat that boss fight, holy cows, it's just the greatest feeling. Like truly, it's one of the best feelings in gaming. Well, I've got good news for you. Monster Hunter World is a game of boss fights. Like every monster is a boss fight. You get to put your skills to the test as you progress through the game. But there isn't just a few monsters that are extremely tough and the others are small hurdles along the way. Each monster will have you building armor and weapons to increase the stats of your character, learn new ways to dodge and counterattack while you're hunting, and a whole bunch more. Yes, once you get to the end game, the beginning monsters are a breeze, but that's more of a reflection of how you've improved as a player and how your armor and weapons have improved along the way. I've replayed the whole story of Monster Hunter World a handful of times now, and those early monsters still beat me up while I have new weapons and weak armor, and it still feels amazing when I take down those early game monsters for the first time with a new weapon. I love it. Replaying Monster Hunter World is probably one of the best things I've done over this last year. I've played through the game, like I said, a handful of times, and every time I play through it again with a brand new weapon and I try new things, and it's just a blast. It's so much fun. And I've only talked about playing this game solo so far, because the fun multiplies when you add more players to the hunt. You can take down any monster in the game as a group of hunters, but Monster Hunter World even has these monsters called siege monsters, which take multiple hunters to take down, and sometimes even multiple groups of multiple hunters to take down. The shenanigans and amazing moments that occur while a group of hunters demolish a huge dragon is also just a super fun time. My community here on YouTube regularly plays together, but we run around in other players' hunts as the Basilgoon Squad with a uniform and explosions and a bunch of laughter while helping other players out with tough hunts. It's such a fun time, and all of this happens because multiplayer in Monster Hunter is such a great experience. I want to talk a little bit more about the community here, because not just multiplayer, but also just the people involved in the game are fantastic. We all know it's no secret that the communities around video games are, for the most part anyways, the most toxic part of gaming. I've gone through my share of games with terrible communities, and the community alone was the reason why I stopped playing those games. Monster Hunter World is not one of those games. It's a rare place on the internet to find a community that loves to help other people out, to play a game together, and to celebrate big victories. One of the best parts about being on YouTube with Monster Hunter has been the people I've met. I have such an amazing community of people who like to have fun and help others out. And I don't think my community is unique to the game. We just happen to all find each other here. Regardless of whether you jump into my community or not, you're gonna find people in game who are there just because they want to help you out. It's pretty common for players who are at the end game to just jump into sessions with players who need a hand and just help out because they want to. It's sort of a badge of honor in the community to be of service to others. And I'm sure I'll run into my first toxic person at some point in Monster Hunter, but so far I've been fortunate to not. And that's been a huge testament to the community as a whole, as I could rattle off plenty of other games where one round into the game, I'd hear more slurs and awful things than I'd ever want to hear in my lifetime. If you're interested in being part of a wholesome, fun, and helping community, you can check out my Discord. There's a link for it in the description. I'd love to have you there. Let me go through a few other small things real fast to sell you on how awesome Monster Hunter World is in 2024 as well. First off, the price. Monster Hunter World is 6 years old. It's on sale frequently. As of recording, the game was the cheapest it had ever been. It had been under $10. It'll be the easiest $10 you ever spend. If you're on PC, check out Steam often. This game goes on sale frequently, and it's usually 50% off or more every time I check it out. Capcom, the developers of Monster Hunter World, have been on a huge hot streak lately with their games. They're fully finished and completed on release. They have vibrant communities, and you get the huge benefit with Monster Hunter World specifically that it's a fully completed game. There's no more updates being released for the game, so everything's there for you right out the gate. No waiting for things to come along later on. Also, there's critter collecting in-game, achievement hunting, theory crafting, cute monsters, gross monsters, large maps, amazing graphics, and the list could go on and on. With all of these things, is Monster Hunter World good in 2024? Yep, it's very good. It's one of the best out there. Compare the release of many other games in 2023 for this game from 6 years ago. It outclasses almost all of them. Monster Hunter World is great whether you're trying it for the first time or returning to World for another go at it. And this year we have even more reason to play through Monster Hunter World as Monster Hunter Wilds is on the horizon. World will be a great place to curb our excitement while we wait for the next game in the series that very well could be a wonderful successor to this incredible game. If you watch this video to help you decide if you should jump into World, I'll make it even easier for you to get started. I made guides to everything that you can do in the game. Episode 1 is on screen for you right now to get you started in World. Have a fantastic day. I'll see you in the next one.